In 2012, I was diagnosed with anxiety disorder as well as agoraphobia. In 2019, I did 2 videos. One was a background on how I developed an anxiety disorder and agoraphobia, what is agoraphobia and all of those things. And then a second video where I spoke about the symptoms that I was experiencing at that time. Now, since then, I've gotten a lot of questions like, am I coping? How am I coping? And I've kind of answered them individually, but people actually asked me to do videos and I never did it. But I feel like there's no perfect time to speak about anxiety as opposed to right now where we are in a state of emergency here in Trinidad and Tobago. We are under a curfew, as well as in broad terms, we are in a pandemic. If you are new to my channel, I am Raenelle-Lee, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking about something that I like to call pandemic anxiety. If you are interested, please continue watching this video. I just want to say that if you are the type of person that these types of videos kind of trigger your anxiety, it is fine. You can click off this video. But if it is, you don't really have that much triggers when persons speak about anxiety and speak about the pandemic, then feel free to continue watching this video. In terms of an update about my anxiety, this is one of the questions that I always get. My anxiety is so much better now. I was diagnosed in 2012, as I previously stated, and in 2017 was the year where I started to get some relief in terms of my anxiety symptoms. In a pandemic, you would expect that somebody with an anxiety disorder and agoraphobia, it gets worse. So last year, when we got our first case, which I think was March 12th of 2020, I felt like my life was ending. Like, I literally felt so horrible. There were many times where I thought that I had the virus, and I really had a hard time last year. I'm not really sure if I spoke about it much on my channel, but it was really difficult last year, and now we are having even more cases in Trinidad and Tobago. We are in a state of emergency, for God's sake. We are in a curfew. And yet still, I am just finding it I'm just cool and I'm calm. I'm not going to say I'm not bothered. I am concerned. But I feel like I've found ways to cope. And I'm going to discuss some of those things that I do today. If hearing about the causes of anxiety during a pandemic is something that might trigger your anxiety, then I have these videos in timestamps, so you can skip to the coping strategies. The timestamps are in my description below. So yeah, it is normal to feel anxiety during this time. For one, this entire situation is very new. So something that is new is going to trigger anxiety for many persons, and that is quite okay. So if it is you have somebody telling you that you are paranoid and that you should not feel how you feel, they are completely disgraceful. In addition to that, our country, Trinidad and Tobago, is currently in a state of emergency. And yes, we were in a state of emergency some years back, but we were never in a state of emergency due to a pandemic. We were never in a state of emergency due to a rise in deaths and COVID cases. So of course you are going to feel anxious, and that is perfectly fine. In addition to that, a lot of people are experiencing unemployment and financial instability during these times. One of the main causes of anxiety during this pandemic is the fear of contracting the virus. This happened to me last year. A lot of the anxiety that I had was surrounded by the fact that I did not want to get the virus. No one wants to get the virus. A lot of people, especially social persons, are experiencing anxiety this time because they feel trapped. And that is just it. You feel like you have to stay home, especially now that a lot of places are closed in Trinidad and Tobago. We are in a state of emergency, and we also have a curfew. Restaurants are closed. The only things that are really open right now, or should be open, are essential places, and as such, a lot of people feel like they are trapped home and they can't escape. And it is also important to say at this time that you can contract the virus from somebody who is your family, and at this point is not to trust your life with anyone. And that's just something that I would like to say while I'm speaking about it, because I think that is very important. It's crazy. It's just a crazy time on a whole, as well as a lot of misinformation and a lot of information overload has really been causing us anxiety. I'm going to talk about some of the things that I have done to cope with it, because if it is I don't cope with it, my history of anxiety, I'm kind of scared that I would go back there, and that's not a place that I want to be. Now with me, it's very ironic because I was diagnosed with agoraphobia, and with agoraphobia I was always scared to leave home. And one of the things that I'm kind of concerned about right now is that me being in a situation where I have to stay home is going to bring up that past, and I'm trying to as I said, using all these coping strategies to make sure that I don't go back into agoraphobia and not have a fear after this pandemic of leaving the home and feeling like I'm out of my comfort zone too much. So it's really difficult, and it's just a lot that comes with this whole pandemic that a lot of people don't necessarily talk about. So first thing first, last year, one of my triggers of my anxiety, of my pandemic anxiety, was information overload as well as misinformation, which, as I stated before, is a common cause of anxiety during this pandemic. What I would say is to take time off of social media if you need to, as well as you need to know your friends by now. You need to know the ones that would kind of trigger your anxiety as well as the ones that would kind of help you with your anxiety. So for me, I don't really go through people's stories, as well as I don't like to go through their statuses on WhatsApp. If it is you have to mute their statuses and mute their stories, do that, because at the end of the day, you need to make sure that you are not overloaded or loaded with information, as well as, even worse, misinformation. You also want to make sure that you listen to trusted sources. So for me, I don't take information from any and anybody. There are always these voice notes passing around saying that this and this is going to happen, the world is going to end. The world has been going to end years now, and we're still here. Your trusted sources, I would say, is CDC, WHO. In my country, Trinidad and Tobago, I like to watch the post from the Ministry of Health or any ministry organization. Other than that, I don't want to hear what anybody else has to say. Another thing that was really affecting me last year was that I was employed last year, and my job was a very, very boring job. Like, I didn't have much stuff to do. A lot of the times I would even wonder, why am I in work not doing anything? I was a social media / communications officer. Majority of my work was on social media, and yet still I was going to work in a pandemic, and I was just like, yo, I could do all these things home. So a lot of times I would go to work and I would have absolutely nothing to do, and that was giving me anxiety, because at that point in time where I had nothing to do, my mind would be racing. In August, I decided to pursue my master's. With pursuing my master's, I have no time to study anything else. I am keeping my brain occupied. Because I'm keeping myself busy with information such as my school work, I don't have time to think about COVID information or pandemic information or misinformation at that. So I'm keeping myself occupied and busy. Other than that, I have been finding ways to occupy myself. So for example, I have been taking YouTube courses. You may not be interested in YouTube, but there are many courses out there, and little quizzes that you could take, and books to read as well, to kind of help you keep yourself busy. So that's something that could help you cope right now. If you just sit down and dwell in your sorrow and dwell in your issues, you are always going to have those issues. You have to find ways to come out of it. Scroll the internet, watch YouTube videos, watch my channel. I have a lot of videos on my channel, shameless plug. But you want to give yourself certain things that would kind of occupy your mind and occupy your brain, so that you don't have to study things like the pandemic. Another thing which has helped me since I've been going through anxiety since 2012 was guided meditations. Now, a lot of people say do yoga and do meditation. I find that yoga and meditation does not work for my anxiety, because it's quiet, and when I'm not doing anything is when I start to get irrational thoughts, and it just don't work for me. So I prefer to have a guided meditation where someone is counting down, or talking down, as they say. And so because they are telling me to repeat certain words and to say certain affirmations, my mind is therefore occupied, because I'm not just trying to remain silent during a silent meditation. Another thing is to manifest good thoughts. So last year, when I had horrible anxiety with the pandemic, and I think a lot of people had this issue, was that every time you get a little sore throat or every time you feel a little cold symptom, you automatically think that you had the virus. And I was kind of manifesting the virus without actually recognizing. The reason for this is because your words are very powerful. I believe in the law of attraction, I believe in manifesting, and I believe in positive energy, vibes, and all of those things. I stopped thinking that I would get the virus. Like, I literally had to stop myself, because I remember Kimberly Kojo, she's a YouTuber, a doctor, and I remember messaging her last year, and I was like, sis, my throat is hurting so much and I don't know if it's the virus. It was so bad that it would feel like I couldn't even, like when I swallow, I would feel a pain in my throat. Of course, I was attributing that to having COVID, and that was just like so horrible, especially because I am crazy and I trigger myself. So I drown myself into research of the virus, and then the more I read about the symptoms, the more I felt like I was developing symptoms. So it was like, do I have it? So now I try to not read about the symptoms too much, not think about the symptoms too much, and stop attributing every cold symptom with the virus. So another thing that has helped my anxiety is, of course, taking precautions, because I feel like once I know that I'm taking proper precautions, it lessens the amount of anxiety that I have. So if it is you have to double your mask, make sure to wear a mask, of course, but if you have to double it, make sure and wash your hands, make sure and sanitize, walk with a sanitizer, make sure and just sanitize everything. Distance yourself from persons, don't visit anybody, don't let anybody visit you. Those are the kind of things that are keeping my anxiety down during this time, knowing that I'm in a protected space and that I'm not too like all over the place. It's also important for us to take deep breaths. A lot of times we actually don't realize how much we are holding in our breath, especially when you are anxious. So just try to remember at every point in the day, breathe in positive energy, exhaling negative energy, throw it away. Throw that away. You also want to take a walk. You could take a walk around your house, go out, get some sunlight. It's very easy for us to get lazy during this time. Like, trust me, since I've finished my second semester of UE, I've been lazy, and I need to change that about myself, because the lazier that you get is the more that you have nothing to do, or the amount of time that you are doing nothing, and this can result in you feeling anxious. If it is yoga works for you, do some yoga, do some aerobics, do some dancing, do some TikTok dancing. Like, you need to find what you are interested in. Doing self-care has also been one of my coping strategies. I love, like, you know, washing my hair, doing my face routine, deep conditioning my hair. It makes me feel good about myself, because obviously around this time we are not doing anything, we are not going anywhere. And if it is you spend every day just in your bed, not doing anything, not taking care of yourself, not doing anything, not combing your hair, not putting yourself together, it can make you feel depressed, it can make you feel anxious. During this time as well, we are home, a lot of us are home, we are not really doing anything. You want to try to have a productive morning routine. The reason I say morning is because I feel like when you start off your day positive, it ends off in positivity. So in the morning, what I would do when I wake up, say a prayer, and then do some positive affirmations. You know, say, there are many positive affirmations. YouTube with positive affirmations, a whole list will come on, and they help you to repeat positive things to yourself. Or if it is you prefer to read a book, you wake up in the morning and you read a book. There's an app called PDF Drive, and they have like a lot of free books that you could download. So yeah, if that could be part of your morning routine as well, having something nice for breakfast, making something nice for breakfast, because now, I mean, almost everywhere is closed, so we can't just like go to Rituals and buy something. So now you have time. Make your dalgona coffee, make a nice iced coffee, whatever you're interested in. If you like orange juice, make some orange juice, make grapefruit juice, make some kind of something, make some mori. Like, this is the time to just try out different stuff. Cooking has, obviously, as you all can tell, I like to cook. Me preparing my food kind of helps. Like, if I'm preparing my food, I study, and if the plantain burning, I'm not studying about the virus. So these are kind of things that you could do to kind of not think about one thing and to think about something else, and to occupy your mind, because I feel like when your mind is not occupied, that is when the anxiety gets really, really bad. And reach out to a friend, reach out to a family member. Don't dwell in your sorrow, don't stay lonely. Reach out. It is okay, it is completely normal to feel anxious during this time. I know it is not always easy, but I really hope that some of my coping strategies here would help you today. You are watching this and you have been down for the past few days. Get out of it. Get up. Get up. We're going to end this video here now. Let me know if there's anything else you want me to talk about, as well as let me know how you are coping, or let us know, so when people are going to the comment section, they can see what you do to cope. And I really, really hope that we are going to get through this soon, but we just need to listen and stay home and take the precautions. So I will see you guys in my next video. If you are not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button, like, share, comment, share with somebody, because you never know who this video might impact positively, hopefully. So I will see you guys in my next video. Later.